Malik Jefferson was a thoughtful 14-year-old, often found lost in books or sketching his dreams on paper. He lived in a small town where opportunities to speak publicly were rare, making the idea of standing in front of an audience daunting. Malik had always admired those who could deliver powerful speeches. However, when it came to his turn to speak, he felt a flutter of fear in his stomach. As he sat surrounded by students in the school auditorium, Malik could sense the excitement and nervousness in the air. Today was special. They were gathered for a community event honoring local heroes, including Rosa Parks. The room buzzed with anticipation as volunteers stood up one by one to share their thoughts and stories. Some showed confidence, while others struggled to find their words. Malik watched closely, soaking in their experiences but feeling a knot tighten in his throat. He wished he could be like them, brave and eloquent. Yet each time he thought about getting up to speak, he felt frozen, unsure if anyone would want to hear what he had to say. Coaching himself silently, Malik tried to push through his doubts. His mind raced with the worry of making mistakes or being judged. As the last volunteer finished speaking, an unexpected hush fell over the crowd. It felt as though time had stopped when Rosa Parks turned her gaze toward him and said firmly, "You're next." Those 3 words pierced through Malik's hesitation like a ray of sunlight breaking through clouds. The room was silent, all eyes now fixed on him. In that moment, something shifted within Malik. He realized that this could be his chance, to step out from behind the shadows and make his voice heard for the very first time. The atmosphere in the auditorium was electric, filled with a mix of excitement and nervous energy. This community event aimed to honor local heroes who had made a significant impact on the lives of others. Families, friends, and students gathered together to celebrate courage and resilience. The walls were adorned with colorful banners that displayed encouraging messages, while the scent of popcorn wafted through the air, adding a cozy touch to the occasion. As volunteers took turns speaking, Malik watched intently. Some shared heartfelt stories about how these heroes had inspired them, while others spoke about personal challenges they had overcome. Each volunteer brought a unique perspective to the stage, revealing their strengths and vulnerabilities. Malik admired their courage, but felt his own insecurities bubble up inside him. He sat quietly in his seat, hoping that he would somehow find the bravery to do what they were doing. The moments between speeches felt charged with anticipation as applause echoed through the room after each story was told. Malik noticed how the audience reacted, nodding in agreement or gasping in surprise at times. It was clear that this gathering meant something important to everyone present. Each speaker had the power to connect and inspire those listening, and Malik envied their ability to share openly. As he absorbed their experiences, he pondered what he might say if given the chance. Would his words matter? Could he convey his thoughts as clearly as they did? Just then, Rosa Parks' words echoed in his mind. "You're next." With that simple phrase hanging in the air, Malik felt a shift within him, a mix of fear and excitement igniting a spark of determination. He realized that this moment wasn't just about public speaking, it was about finding his own voice amidst a sea of stories waiting to be told. As the last volunteer stepped down from the stage, an almost tangible hush settled over the crowd. Malik's heart raced as he scanned the room, his eyes landing on Rosa Parks, who sat calmly among them. Dressed in a vibrant blue dress, she exuded wisdom and strength. As she caught Malik's gaze, she held it steady for a moment before saying with conviction, "You're next." Those words floated through the air like a powerful spell, cutting through Malik's cloud of fear. It felt surreal to be addressed by such an iconic figure. Here was someone who had fought for justice and equality, yet she believed he could share something meaningful too. The weight of her encouragement seeped directly into his chest, warming his anxious heart. Malik could hardly breathe as he processed what had just happened. He was no longer just another student in a crowded auditorium. He was being called to take his place among others who had found their voices. With those simple words, Rosa Parks seemed to infuse him with her courage and determination. Malik realized that speaking wasn't just about delivering a message, but also about connecting with others and sharing experiences that mattered. Feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation swell within him, Malik closed his eyes briefly to gather his thoughts. He thought about all the stories he had heard that day, the tales of strength and resilience, and how they resonated deeply with him. If Rosa Parks believed in him enough to encourage him to speak, then perhaps he had something valuable to say too. With renewed energy coursing through him, he prepared to rise from his seat. The doubts that once threatened to swallow him seemed smaller now. This was not just an opportunity to speak. It was a chance to honor the spirit of courage that Rosa Parks embodied and inspire others just as she had inspired him. As Rosa's words echoed in his mind, an unexpected hush enveloped the auditorium. The lively chatter and soft rustling of programs faded into an almost tangible silence, all eyes now locked on Malik. It felt surreal, as if time had momentarily frozen just for him. The weight of the moment pressed down on his shoulders, amplifying the quickening beat of his heart. Malik swallowed hard, feeling the intensity of the crowd's attention wash over him like a wave. In that instant, everything he had feared about speaking in public surged to the forefront of his mind. What if he stumbled over his words? What if no one understood him? Yet mixed with his anxiety was a flicker of excitement, ignited by the encouragement Rosa had given him. He took a deep breath, trying to calm the whirlwind of thoughts racing through his head. As he stood up from his seat, Malik felt the cool air against his skin, a sharp reminder that this was real. The room felt vast and open, yet somehow intimate. He could see familiar faces in the audience, friends and classmates who had supported him, but their gazes now seemed heavier than before. They were waiting for him to speak, and that realization both thrilled and terrified him. Malik's mind raced as he recalled the stories shared earlier by the volunteers. Their triumphs and struggles resonated deeply within him. He thought about how those stories had inspired him, and how he wanted to inspire others in turn. With each step toward the stage, he felt a new determination building inside him. This was his moment to share not just his voice but a piece of himself. As he approached the microphone, he drew on the strength of Rosa Parks' gaze and the collective hope in the room. This was more than just a challenge. It was an opportunity to connect with others and show them that every voice matters, including his own. The silence was still heavy, but now it felt filled with possibilities waiting to be unleashed. In the crowd, Coach Tyrone Nash sat quietly, observing the unfolding events with a look of encouragement on his face. He had been a significant figure in Malik's life, always pushing him to be the best version of himself. As the coach of the school's basketball team, he understood the power of perseverance and teamwork, often reminding Malik and his teammates that success comes not just from skill but also from belief in oneself. Coach Nash had seen potential in Malik long before today. He would often pull him aside after practice, telling him how important it was to find his voice, not just on the court, but in every aspect of life. "You have a story that matters," he would say, his tone firm yet supportive. Those words sunk deep into Malik's heart, making him realize that everyone had their own unique experiences worth sharing. At the event, Malik felt a profound connection to Coach Nash as he prepared to speak. He could feel his coach's unwavering support fueling his courage. The coach had always emphasized that vulnerability could be a source of strength. It was okay to show emotion and be real with others. Now, standing on the brink of addressing the crowd, Malik thought about those lessons and how they shaped him. As the silence hung in the air around him, he glanced towards Coach Nash, who nodded encouragingly. That gesture was a gentle reminder that he wasn't alone. Malik knew that whether he succeeded or stumbled while speaking, Coach Nash would be proud of him for trying. With this reassurance, he took a step forward, feeling empowered by both Rosa Parks' encouragement and the steadfast belief of his coach. This moment was not just about overcoming fear. It was about honoring the support he had received and embracing who he was meant to be. Taking a deep breath, Malik stepped up to the microphone, the moment stretching before him like an open road. He glanced briefly at Rosa Parks and Coach Tyrone Nash, feeling their support wrap around him like a warm blanket. With his heart pounding, he began to speak, his voice slightly shaky but gaining strength with each word. "Hello, everyone. My name is Malik Jefferson, and though I may be nervous, I'm grateful for this chance to share my thoughts." He paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle in the room. Today, I want to talk about who we are and the courage it takes to truly express ourselves. Malik shared how he often felt uncertain about his identity, a mix of dreams and fears that sometimes felt too heavy to carry. I've learned that being true to ourselves is the first step toward finding our voices. He continued, we all have stories that matter. Each one of us has a unique journey that can inspire others. He spoke about the importance of courage in overcoming obstacles and how it can help us stand up not just for ourselves, but also for those who may feel voiceless. Courage, he said firmly, isn't about being fearless. It's about speaking out even when we feel afraid. As he looked out into the audience, he saw nods of understanding and encouragement. He was no longer just speaking to a crowd, he was connecting with them. Malik concluded his speech with a powerful message. Let us embrace who we are and support one another in finding our voices. Together, we can create a world where everyone feels valued and heard. With those final words, Malik felt a surge of energy flow through him. He had shared not only his fears but also his hopes for himself and for others. The applause that followed filled the auditorium with a sense of unity and possibility, marking a moment of transformation for Malik and everyone listening. As Malik finished his speech, a wave of applause erupted from the audience, echoing off the walls of the auditorium. The impact of his words seemed to ripple through the crowd, reaching each student in a personal way. Many had come to the event feeling unsure of themselves, just as Malik had felt before stepping up to the microphone. However, while listening to him, they began to see a reflection of their own struggles and hopes. Malik's message of self-identity and courage resonated with his peers. As he spoke about embracing one's true self and the importance of vulnerability, a sense of realization dawned upon them. Students exchanged glances filled with understanding and encouragement, as if Malik had given voice to their own unspoken feelings. Those who had always doubted their abilities now felt a flicker of inspiration igniting within them. Whispers filled the room as Malik concluded, with many students commenting on how his honesty and bravery helped change their perspective. If he can do it, then I can too, one student murmured to another. With Malik's encouragement echoing in their minds, they began imagining themselves sharing their own stories and speaking up for what they believed in. As the applause gradually faded, several students approached Malik after the event, eager to express how moved they were by his words. Some shared their feelings about their own issues with self-expression and thanked him for inspiring them to be more courageous in their daily lives. They felt empowered to take risks and stand tall in their identities. Malik left the stage not only feeling transformed but knowing that he had sparked a change in those around him. He had shown them that every voice matters and that by sharing their experiences, they could strengthen their community. This moment solidified not only his newfound confidence but also a collective awakening among his fellow students. A shared journey towards self-acceptance and empowerment had begun. As Malik stepped away from the microphone, a wave of emotions washed over him: pride, relief, and an unexpected sense of accomplishment. The applause still echoed in his ears, and he could hardly believe that he had just bared his thoughts and feelings to a crowd. It felt as if he had finally shed a heavy cloak of fear that had weighed him down for so long. He took a moment to reflect on the journey that had led him to this point. Before today, speaking in front of other people seemed like an impossible mountain to climb. Now, he recognized this moment as a turning point in his life, a defining experience that reshaped how he saw himself. For the first time, Malik realized that his voice mattered, that his stories deserved to be shared, and that vulnerability could be powerful. Walking through the auditorium, he exchanged smiles and nods with his classmates, who were also feeling the weight of their own realizations. He sensed that they were not just celebrating his courage, but were inspired to find their own voices, too. This was a shared moment of growth. He wasn't alone in this journey towards self-acceptance. Malik's heart swelled with pride as students approached him to express how his speech had affected them. They shared their own struggles and aspirations, igniting within him a deep sense of connection to those around him. He learned that by speaking out, he hadn't only transformed himself but had also sparked a change in others. This experience marked more than just a personal victory. It was the start of a new chapter where Malik felt empowered to embrace who he truly was. He left the event feeling lighter and more confident, knowing that he had ignited hope in those around him. With this new understanding, Malik stepped forward into the future, not just as a shy boy fearful of judgment, but as a young man ready to make his mark on the world. As the event drew to a close, the impact of Rosa Parks' presence lingered in the air, a testament to her enduring legacy as an advocate for justice and equality. Her simple yet powerful words to Malik had been more than just encouragement. They had sparked a flame of courage within him and ignited a ripple effect throughout the auditorium. By looking directly at him and urging him to embrace this moment, she demonstrated the profound influence that one person can have on another's life. Rosa Parks embodied strength and resilience, qualities that inspired not only Malik but also countless young people who were searching for their own voices. Through her actions and words, she had shown that everyone possesses the ability to speak out against injustice and make a difference. Her legacy encouraged individuals to step forward boldly, regardless of their fears and insecurities. Malik realized that this event was not simply about honoring local heroes. It was a celebration of the collective power of youth to create change. Inspired by Rosa Parks, he understood that they all had a responsibility to uplift one another and foster an environment where each voice could resonate. Her influence would continue to echo in their hearts, motivating them to stand up for what they believe in. As Malik reflected on this powerful encounter, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He recognized that he, too, could be a source of inspiration for others, just as Rosa had been for him. Every story shared, every challenge faced, and every voice raised contributed to a growing movement toward empowerment and acceptance. In closing, Malik knew that Rosa Parks' legacy would forever remain a guiding force in his life and in the lives of his peers. With each step forward, they would honor her fight for justice by embracing their identities and speaking out courageously for themselves and others. This was just the beginning of an incredible journey, one rooted in unity, strength, and the unwavering belief that every voice truly matters. As Malik stood in the auditorium, surrounded by his peers and community members, he felt a profound sense of purpose. This experience had not only changed him but had also illuminated the power of speaking up and believing in oneself. He understood now that every voice holds the potential to inspire change, not just within individuals but throughout entire communities. When people share their stories, they create connections that bind them together. Each unique experience adds to the collective narrative, fostering understanding and empathy. Malik realized that by embracing their own stories, however small or significant, everyone could contribute to a culture of support and acceptance. It was a reminder that no one should feel isolated in their struggles. Vulnerability can lead to strength and resilience. Reflecting on Rosa Parks' influence, Malik recognized that she had dedicated her life to standing up for what was right, inspiring countless others to do the same. Her legacy urged them all to act boldly, encouraging young people to find their voices and speak out against injustice. In doing so, they could lift each other up and pave the way for future generations. As he looked around at the faces of his classmates, Malik felt a surge of hope. He wanted to encourage them to take that first step, whether it was sharing their thoughts in a classroom or standing up for someone who needed support. Each act of courage could spark a chain reaction, leading to a more compassionate and understanding world. In closing, Malik invited everyone to embrace their own stories and the power they hold. He urged his peers to believe in themselves and remember that their voices matter. By speaking up, they could create waves of change that ripple through their community and beyond. Together, they could build a brighter future, one where every voice is heard, valued, and celebrated.